6 horror movies that will keep you up at night. Are you a fan of horror films? Then watch this video and let us know if you agree with our list. Starting with the most scary movie of all times, The Conjuring. Based on a real-life story, The Conjuring is one of the scariest movies of all times. When a family moves to a farmhouse in Rhode Island, paranormal events occur within the first few nights. Every clock in the house stops at 3:07 a.m. Birds fly into their windows, and their dog is found dead in the morning. That's when the family decides to call demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren to help them. Later, the Warrens find evidences that the house belonged to a witch who sacrificed her baby to the devil and killed herself at 3:07 a.m. after cursing all who would take her land. In order to set the family free of the curse, the Warrens have to perform an exorcism in the place, and well, you know the rest. Horrible screams, slow insanity, and creepy smiley doll. The Exorcist. This 1973 American supernatural horror film will never get old. The Exorcist is one of the most profitable horror movies ever made. When little Regan, played by Linda Blair, starts acting odd, levitating and speaking in tongues, her worried mother seeks medical help only to hit a dead end. However, a local priest thinks the girl may be possessed by the devil and makes a request to perform an exorcism. And you already know what happened, right? The Exorcist wasn't just unbelievably scary, it was also nominated for 10 Academy Awards, thus proving the power of efficient filmmaking. Make sure to invite some friends over to watch this classic, especially those who are easily scared. Halloween. We watch movies for a whole lot of reasons, right? Sometimes we want to cry, sometimes we want to laugh, and sometimes we just want to be amused. So here's an advice. If you don't want to have a terrifying experience, then you should not watch Halloween. This 1978 American independent slasher film is considered one of the greatest and most influential horror films ever made. After a 6-year-old boy brutally murdered his older sister, he's sent away and kept alone for 15 years, only to return on Halloween of 1978 to the same town and the same street where he committed his first murder. He's ready to go trick-or-treating, but you know what he's actually looking for, right? The Ring. A videotape, a phone call, and you hear the most terrifying 2 words. This remake of a 1998 Japanese film left a mark on everyone who watched it. In the film, Naomi Watts is a protective mother who lives in the suburban area of Seattle. After her niece mysteriously died 7 days after watching a cursed videotape, Rachel begins to investigate the origin of the object, only to find out the history of Samara, an adoptive girl who was murdered by her mother and thrown into a well at their farm. The Ring was the first of several Japanese adaptations in modern times, and responsible for inspiring movie lovers to call their best friends and whispering 7 days into the phone, thus ruining their Friday night plans. We bet you tried to prank a friend with that sentence, didn't you? So like this video if you did so. The Hills Have Eyes. It all begins with the wrong gas station and people going to different directions. A family road trip takes a terrifying turn when they become trapped in a barren atomic zone established by the US government. But things get even worse when they find out that the wasteland is far from uninhabited. A band of cannibal mutants wander the area, and there is nothing they like better than fresh meat. The Strangers. We all know the plot. Young couple, isolated vacation home, people in masks, based on a real-life event. The right combination for a psychological horror film. After returning from a wedding reception, a couple staying in an isolated vacation house receive a knock on the door later at night. What happens next is a violent invasion by 3 strangers with their faces hidden behind masks. The couple find themselves in a violent struggle in which they go beyond what either of them thought capable in order to survive. The plot was inspired by two real-life events: the multiple homicide Manson family Tate murders and a series of break-ins that occurred in Bertino's neighborhood as a child, all in which makes this movie one of the scariest of all times. So what other movies do you think should be on this list? Write us a comment below.